Good afternoon, everyone. This is Robert. And don't worry about what you see on your screen because this thing is huge. For those of you who are interested, and there are some war gamers out there that are subs of mine, I'm going to do a unboxing of the Company of Heroes board game. Now, what you see on the screen right now is a very big crate. This is a very big crate. Now, this crate actually holds the entire game, all right, in this box, or at least the first edition it did. This is a board game made by Bad Crow Games, okay, Bad Crow Games. And this was a Kickstarter that actually, started about a few years ago, actually in 2021. When I first saw it, I was actually very much amazed at what this thing could be. Now, this is based on one of the best World War II RTS video games ever made, Company of Heroes, which I still play sometimes on my computer, on my PC. I do have a copy of it, and it is fun. This is a pretty faithful rendition of the game. Now, what you're seeing, of course, here right now, that everything's blocked off, is the crate. It's kind of hard to show, but I want to show you how they shipped this thing, okay? And it's shipped in a very big crate. And, you know, I wanted to show this because this is how the game is shipped when you get it. The funny thing is I didn't get this via Kickstarter. This thing actually, I wasn't planning on getting it in Kickstarter. And then somebody on eBay was selling the entire set. And lo and behold, the guy that was selling this was in Boca, which is about 5 miles away from me. So I grabbed it and actually picked it up from this guy, and it was unplayed. Everything was still sealed. Now, I've opened up all the boxes to look at them, but I wanted to show you the crate that this thing comes in. All right. Now I'm going to show you how you can now see how big this crate is, as you can see. Watch what this thing can do. You can actually open it up. Okay, a little bit. I know I'm not using real good cameras, and I'm using mine here. You can open it up, and yeah, you can see the crate is empty. I've already opened it up because this thing weighed tons when I got it. There's a couple of things here that you do. A couple of things here in the bottom of the crate that you lift up, and the crate actually collapses. And the crate actually collapses. That's amazing how they actually engineered that. So the crate actually collapses, and I can actually put this on the bed. So as big as that was, it's now like this. You can actually put the entire game into this and take it with you if you're going to go ahead and to do it. This is designed for storage and travel, believe it or not. It's heavy. It's heavy, but you don't have to take the whole game if you don't want. You can bring what you're going to play and, you know, such. So I wanted to show you the crate first. Now I'll put that away. Now, Company Heroes, all right, actually came in 2 editions. It came in a first and a second. The first edition sold very well, okay? But the creator of the game, his name is Chris Gabrielson. He's the actual creator of the game. And he was not really happy with some of the rule sets that he actually built. So he actually started working on a second edition almost immediately after the first edition was revealed. Now I'm going to show you first the first edition stuff and then the second edition, which of course I do have. The second edition I did kickstart in May of 2023. It was only recently I got the second edition veteran backer kit, only a few weeks ago. It would have taken longer if I did not go with the if I did not air freight it, and it wasn't that expensive for me. It really wasn't. It wasn't that expensive to air freight, because if I didn't air freight, a lot of people who did back this are actually still waiting for it. They should have air freighted. But this is Company Heroes, and I thought I'd show it to you since I do wargaming a little bit here on the channel. This box here, by the way, this is the main. This was the 4-player core box. You can see how thick this is. This is a big box. This is a big box. This is the 4-player core box. There was a 2-player core box that was also offered, but this guy bought the 4 one. So let's open it up and I'll show you what's in here. This is going to be a little bit of a long unboxing. So now the original game of Company Heroes came with 3 different rule books. It came with a basic, it came with an advanced, and it came with a mission. We'll move this to the side for a minute so I can show you the books. This is the first edition books here. Let me move my stuff off here so I can have a little bit more room on the desk. Sucks that I just don't have enough room on this thing to really stream any good war games and such. But here is the basic. Okay. And this is the first edition. This is not second. I have second edition, but I wanted to show you first what this actually looked like in first edition. So they have first, this was the basic rule book. So you can play the game just with basic rules. You can see how the rule book is actually done very well, but not as well as they liked it the first time. That's why the second edition rules are even better. But he did a first edition here. The quality of the paper is very good, very glossy, very strong, very hard to rip. Has a glossary and an index, and even a faction. And here it had a faction FAQ. And on the back of the rule book, some of the icons referenced and such here. Then there was an advanced rule book. The advanced rule book's actually pretty thin, but it's still the same quality. A little bit more how to use the advanced rules, which actually is the best way to play the game. You want to play this game the advanced way once you learn how to play it the basic way, but the advanced way is how to play it. Have I actually played this game? The answer is no. Reason is because I did set it up and just to see how it would look on my bed, because I really don't have anything big enough to put this on. But I waited when I heard the second edition was coming out. I just decided to wait until that was out. And it has more of the advanced rules here. Then there's the mission book. This has the maps on it and how you can play it. The core set came with 4 different maps, one on each, 2 boards, one on each side. You'll see them. And you're not kidding. These are actual pieces that come with the game, but you have to get the terrain packs. But here you have the maps here, how to play, how to play the maps, small maps, medium maps, skirmish maps, large maps, 3-panel, and you can interchange the maps. It's not going to make the game it's not going to ruin it. You can interchange the maps. It just makes the game a lot more interesting. The maps are all expandable, and there's customizable. You can create your own maps if you want to. And it has some more frequently asked questions. Now, and on the back, some more stuff here as well, including when you play on ice maps. Now, this is, I said, the first edition. I wanted to go ahead and open this up first because the first edition is what I got. I didn't need to go all in a second time because I already have all first edition, and they did. And the second edition comes with a full update kit. So the funny thing about these rule books really are obsolete. The second edition, and I'll show you those as well. But let's now have a look at some of the components. The components of this game are excellent quality, and I do mean excellent quality. This is the 4-player core set from the original, and this comes with 4 factions: U.S., Wehrmacht, British, and Soviet. There is a 5th faction called Oberkommando West, or OKW, and that is a separate faction, and I of course have that as well. But let me show. This is the first. Now these cards are actually now obsolete because of second edition, but I still want to show you the quality here. So these cards go in this bag here. So this is these are the building cards, or I should say the base cards, kind of like real-time strategy. All right. You have Soviet, you have US, you have the Wehrmacht, and you have the British. The card quality in this set is good. The card quality actually in the second edition is even better. But here, take a look here. Look at the card quality here. Take punishment. It has a nice glossy finish. So actually, if you happen to get something on the cards, you could probably wipe it off. As you can tell, if you can look at the texture on the cards, you can tell that maybe something spills on these cards. You could probably wipe it off if you're not sleeving them. You really can't sleeve these. I don't see it. I don't think there's any sleeves that are this size, but you're really not going to. You're not shuffling these things. I'll go ahead. If anybody's interested in this thing, I'll go ahead and post the links to the main set to Bad Crow Games, where you can probably purchase it or look at it. Right now, they're still trying to get this game over here due to the tariff issue. The tariffs are slowing down the game to the United States. I air freighted mine, paid an extra $100, and believe it or not, it was very much worth it because there are some people that are still waiting for theirs that did not air freight it. And it was a very small window for air freighting. They only gave like a 2 or 3 day window before the tariffs went up to 145%. They're now down to 30, but still a lot of and now only now Bad Crow is starting to get these games out to everyone. So this are the building cards for this. They can go right in the bag. As you can tell, as I promised you, I did not open these yet. These are actually these are actually still used if you want. These are actually still available, but some of these have been got emplacement tokens for the British and such. Let me go ahead and take a look at them. Since it's an unboxing, I guess I should unbox, right? Let's see here. Good to see your Art Ron McGrath, Art Shackle, my good friend Matt, Steeler fan, and Nate playing some Glory Days boxing. Pop right out too. These pop right out of there, right out. Thick, very thick cardboard. These things will last probably forever. These are the old flag markers, sandbag markers, resources, double-sided, of course. Remember, this is first edition stuff. But I'll show you second edition when we get there. We got a ways to go before we can do that. Here are the commander cards. The game is highly customizable and it's really never the same game twice. It really isn't. But you can play so many different types of commanders. You can play basic, without using commander cards, but you can also play with ways to boost up your forces, like tiers. Like I said, you know how real-time strategy games work? When you go ahead, you build a base, and then you get resources, and you build that base up, and then you get, which gives you access to more weapons and more technology and stuff. That's exactly what this is. It's a board version of a real-time strategy game. Now, the old commander cards just say commander cards on the back. The second edition stuff actually says what faction. So I got to show, so let me show you, here's like the United States in first edition. So here you got like Ranger Company, what you can do when you get up to a certain level. And I'll show you how these work on the boards. And it came with 6 different cards. The base game. This is the main core boxing set. And again, take a look at the texture. Great card quality. Great card quality. The 4-player core set came with 4-player core set came with, as I said, the U.S., the Russians, the Wehrmacht, and the British. If you don't have any of the first edition stuff and you want to play this, you have to go pretty much all in. You have to get second edition core set. The second edition core set only includes 2 factions, the US and the Wehrmacht. The British, the Soviets, and the OKW are now in their own separate factions. There's only a 2-player core set for that, not a 4. But in the first set, it was a 4. Now, these are the old commander boards. Look at these. That's acrylic. That is acrylic. Now, these are the old commander boards. And those cards, if you wanted to use a commander board, which was for incomes and stockpiles, and if you have a card, say like this one here, these commander cards fit right into there. And here you use cubes to mark the numbers on the commander cards. Overheat, now, this, of course, has been changed as well. And you'll see the difference between that. See how these 4 boxes are on the side? You'll see more when I get to the second edition stuff. I've been wanting to do a second edition. But you can see that the quality, okay. I mean, that's acrylic. That's an acrylic board. That's not card. It's cardboard, but with acrylic backing. This thing will last forever. And you get 4 of these in the first edition box. Now, of course, we've got the miniatures, which, of course, is the main thing for this game. But before we get to the miniatures, which I'm going to save for last in this set, because it comes with a full set of miniatures, also shows you how to paint. The first edition already had errata. It already had errata when it first came out. That, of course, has been fixed in second edition. Even second edition had a slight errata, but really nothing major. But it shows you how to, if you want to paint the units or, unbend turrets and such. And it comes with decals. These are not water decals. These aren't ones that you have to put in the water or anything like that. These you just go ahead and, take off and put on. put on the put on the miniatures. And there are white ones, as you can see here. Germany, the Wehrmacht, British, Soviets. Trust me, you got enough decals for pretty much every miniature in the game. This is the box of dice and such. I mean, they even did it where even the plastic has the name on the plastic. That's, something. So here you have game trays for vehicles. The infantry and the dice. The infantry and the dice go on here. So pretty much everything you need to know would be on the infantry. Command cubes. All the dice, as you can see, are now. You don't roll these. These are designed for symbols. These are not rolled. The only thing you actually roll for dice is this dice. And I'll tell you, this is a good pack of dice here. It's actually pretty heavy. These dice are actually pretty heavy. Command cubes for movement. A lot of die. Actually, even the die feels pretty good. I look at these dice. I look at these trays for them because the miniatures fit into this. The infantry fits into these. I look at these. I wonder if these would also fit the memoir. I also have memoir 44. I also wonder if they would fit the memoir ones too. I wonder if they would fit the memoir because the squares look almost the exact same size as the memoir 44 figures for Days of Wonder. I almost wonder if it would fit those as well. However, this may be too big for the memoir map because the memoir hexes are smaller. So I'll give you an example how these would work. So let's see. Let's do this here. How about so a typical, there's the United States, a typical infantry division. That's actually pretty nice. The sculpt is not bad at all. I know I don't want to refocus because if I do, I'll lose focus. But the sculpt is actually not bad, as you can see. It's a pretty good sculpt. You can paint this. So if you were to make, you would pretty much, if you were creating a rifleman squad, you would put a rifleman squad actually has a life of four men. So a basic rifleman squad in the game. They're all fit in that. And they're not falling out. They fit in there pretty snug. Well, unless you really shake it, yeah, but but they fit in there pretty snug still. And if this unit has like an extra, has like a ability for, has another another way for IP, another anti-infantry, you would put the die on there. And this would be a rifleman squad that has an extra anti-infantry roll, extra anti-infantry damage on it, and AP armor piercing, and you would move this on the board. It's pretty much how they fit. Believe it or not, the cost of this set for the miniatures you're about to see is actually pretty light, in my opinion. Very, very light. You would expect a set like this to cost maybe a couple of thousand. It doesn't even get that high. We got some anti-tank. These are German units. These are anti-tank German units. Pretty nice sculpt in here. Some machine mortars. And what you do is you would take the infantry and you would put this mortar cannon into one of the spaces, signifying this is a mortar team. Am I going to try to get this on the board? I'm actually going to try to do some way of doing it. There may be a way I can do it. And machine guns. For the German machine gun teams. Everything is very neatly packaged, and everything does just, you know, it easily packs away. So it has no problem packing away. So it does come with sand timers. These are 3-minute sand timers. These are designed if you want to play the game instead of going turn, 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 turn. You can actually play simultaneously utilizing these. Pretty cool. Packs away very nicely. Now the maps. Now these are first edition maps. These have actually all been changed, but still, I want to show you how these maps look. The 4-player first edition core set came with 4 of these beasts. Trust me, these things are heavy. These things are heavy. These are first edition. These are still compatible with second edition. If you want, you can still use these maps for second edition. There is a few changes, but you still can use them. You can still use them because they did create a legacy map pack, but there is also a legacy map pack which pretty much replaced these maps totally. But you still can use these. If you want a huge game, you can actually still use these maps. They are still usable with a few changes. This is just the core box, people. to really show you how big this is pretty difficult to do without putting it on a table. But maybe I give you a sense of scale how big it is. That's pretty big. And this is just one panel. This is one panel. You can actually play on one of these if you want. You can probably play just on one panel, a small skirmish map. My thing is, can I maybe play a small game on something just like this, that size? I probably could do something to that effect. I may have to create something. You can see how big this is, and that is very good, high quality board, not paper maps or anything like this. There's the thickness of the board. I don't think I need to open the others. I think you get the general idea. Just lifting these weighs about 2 or 3 pounds. All right, let's have a look at the miniatures that come in the core set. This is, of course, is the bread and butter of the game, the miniatures. The miniatures. This is why you buy the game. Not because of maybe the plastic or anything of the cards. All right. This is why you buy the game. Heroes. You have each tray has a spot for all the infantry, so you're not throwing infantry into the tray. You're just going ahead and standing it up so you can grab it. So you saw the American infantry. The Americans come with some sharpshooters here. Along with the rest that you have. There is a difference in the sculpts. One's facing one, one's facing another. There is a difference in the sculpts. You get 2 sculpts. And they pretty much finished right in there. So you don't have to worry about throwing infantry, just picking infantry out of a box bag or anything like that. You just pick your infantry up and right here. For vehicles, you got light vehicles and heavy vehicles. The light vehicles for the United States is Willys Jeeps. Very good detail. Paintable, of course. You can paint these if you want. You can put, decals on them if you want. Although this Willys Jeep really may have room for it, but probably could put a decal on the side or something like that. The components are finite, except for the infantry. So if you were to play the game, if you want to play tanks, you're only limited to the amount of tanks that comes with the game. There is no limit to infantry, but there is a limit to the vehicles. So people are wondering, oh, do I have to buy 5 or 6 sets? No, you do not. The game is limited to the amount. It is a component limit. The game is limited to the amount of components, but except for infantry. But you get plenty of infantry. You get about 25, you get about, is it 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24, 28, 32. You got 32 different types of info. You got 32. That's pretty much enough. Maybe more than enough. And that's good. United States Greyhounds. And yes, the turrets move. And they come out. So you can actually put different turrets in the game because it's customizable depending on what you want to use, what commanders you want to use. So the turrets come out and they go right back in pretty easily, as a matter of fact. The turrets do come out and they move. The priests. Look at the detail. And on the funny thing is, on the bottom, it actually tells you what it is. So it tells you this is a priest, the priest M3 during World War II. There's a few marks here too. I can see like here, there's a little bit of plastic there. Nothing a little knife can't do. I used to be doing Warhammer, so I used to be able to paint. I mean, I could paint these if I want, but I'd rather just leave them alone. The Sherman tanks, the M3s. Sherman tanks. And yes, these turrets also move and come out. Also tells you what's for. And yes, there is the Sherman 88. If anybody here saw the movie Fury with Brad Pitt, that was a Sherman 88 that he was driving. It was a Sherman 88, not a typical Sherman tank. This is the main Sherman tank. The thing about United States Sherman tanks, they were not the best tank in the war. That pretty much belonged to the Soviet T-34. They were really the best tank in the war. But the one thing about the Sherman tanks, though, they were very easy to manufacture. They were durable. They were durable. They were durable tanks, the Shermans for World War II. They were durable. They could take some punishment. Strength was okay. They were mediocre they were medium when it came to strength. But they could be mass produced. And that was the one thing that the United States, being the arsenal of democracy that it was, put away. The Wolverines. Again, they all come out. And yes, you can be on the board where the tank is facing one way, and you can turn the turret, and you can turn the turret in the other if you wish. If you find the turret difficult to maybe put in, a little knife, maybe a little cutting will do, and it'll just slide right back in there. But so far, I haven't had any issues with these. M10 Wolverines. This is heavy too. This isn't light. This weighs a few ounces. I'm telling you, this weighs a few ounces. See how that's dipping there? This weighs a few ounces. That weighs me about 5 ounces. This is soft. This is not hollow plastic. This is solid plastic. Very good quality, guys. Very good quality. Definitely worth the price. And room for more stuff too, which of course there is. And the thing here, you have space for the commander cards in each tray. That's the United States. Let's look at the Wehrmacht. The Wehrmacht. This is going to be a long unboxing. So for those of you who are joining me, thank you very much. Germans. German sculpt. German bazooka, by the looks of it. Panzerwerfers. Bazookas. For Panzerfausts, I'm sure. The German Kubelwagens. Kubelwagen. Their light vehicle. Pretty much high-ranking officers usually traveled in these. Everything's paintable. Could really make these look really, really good. I've seen pictures of painted, of some of these painted. They look really, really nice. The SD KFZ 222s with, of course, a moving turret. Because there are other variations of this. The Ostwinds. These really, there are no aircraft in the game. There's no aircraft, at least not right now. I don't know if they're going to ever do an aircraft module for this. But Company Heroes really didn't have an aircraft module for the video game. So there's no aircraft module. The Ostwind really was an anti-aircraft tank, but they decided to make this an anti-infantry tank, which was also used for. Of course, it can turn. Come out. A little bent here, a little bit, but that's superficial. A little water will go, a little hot water will move that, but that's nick tic tac. But again, very good. The Sturmpanzers. The Sturmpanzers. These are pretty much these really are self-propelled anti-tank guns. Sturmpanzers were self-propelled anti-tank guns. I'm a student of World War II history, so I do know what these are. Self-propelled anti-tank weapons. Again, very good. You can put, as I said, you can put those decals on here. The detail is excellent. The molding they use for these is really, really good. The Panzer IV, the Germans' real main battle tank. The Panzer IV. Also change. It can also come out as well. The Panzer IV. These were good tanks. Germans. The Panzer IV may really have been its best tank. It's probably the best tank the Germans really ever made. Very strong, very potent, pretty quick. Can take punishment. The Panzer IV really was a very good tank they had. They should have concentrated on just improving the Panzer IV instead of trying to make beasts. like the Tiger, like the Tiger tank. And speaking of the Tiger tank, what's a war game without a tiger? Was the Tiger tank the most powerful tank in the war? It's arguable. It's debatable. But it suffered from so many mechanical issues. Spare parts were virtually impossible to get. So when these things broke down, you couldn't fix them. But if you face the column of top working Tiger tanks coming at you, you should just run. And even then, and you probably won't get away. The German Tiger tank. Their weakness was in the back. Their weaknesses in the back. The front was pretty much impenetrable. The front of the Tiger tanks were pretty much impenetrable. Very hard to stop. Even in close range, shells would bounce off of them. You had to hit them from behind. But they suffered from mechanical breakdowns, and they really appeared in the war too late for Germany. So that is the base core set for the Germans, or the Wehrmacht. Long way to go, people. For those of you who are staying with me the whole time, thank you. For those of you who don't, I understand. There's a lot to show in this. This is just the core box. Here are the British. The British with their infantry. I'll just open up this one here. The British player set, United Kingdom. Very nice sculpts. The British have their own little weapons. They have their carriers, their Bring carriers. You get your stag hounds. These are pretty much anti-personnel, these are pretty much anti-infantry vehicles. And I believe, did these move? Yeah, and these move too. Those move also. Your centaurs. These come right out because you may be putting something else different in there. The Centaur. The Centaur is also very much an anti-infantry vehicle. As you can tell by the guns, these were designed for facing tanks, so they could. The Cromwells. This is manufactured in China, of course. It's manufactured in China. China did all the work for this game there, Ron. Only now, after 2 years, the second edition is finally making it to the States. But the tariffs slowed things down, so I had to go ahead and airlift this stuff. Because if I didn't airlift it, I still wouldn't have this right now. Now, all the first edition I already had. This stuff I've had for a couple of years. But the second edition I waited for before I did anything. I've always wanted to do an unboxing on this, but I wanted to wait for second edition. And you got your Churchill tanks. And the Churchills come here, and you may might have a different version. So see how that goes in there. because there's different versions of the Churchill you may want to use. I'll put a link to the game, the main website, and to the Facebook group in the comments section of this video. You can see here on the board, you can see where these see where there's an indentation. This is where you put the commander cards in. And now the Russians. Russian infantry. Nice sculpts of the Russians. Soviets. Company Heroes is strictly the war in Europe. So United States, Britain, Russia, Germany, and the Wehrmacht. And there's another German faction, which I'll show you in a little bit, called the OKW, Oberkommando West. The OKW, there was a reason why they decided to do OKW, because really you had two German armies. You had really the Wehrmacht and you had the Waffen-SS, because the SS is not looked upon very well, which understandably so. All right. They decided to use the OKW moniker instead of the Waffen-SS moniker, because we all know what the SS was like, if you've read your books, which I have. Russian light vehicle. The detail on the wheels. You even got the detail is so good. You even have the lug nuts on the wheels. That's really interesting. Your Su-76. Your T-70 tanks. Of course, all of these move. They all change. They all move. They all come out. I like how they put the name of the vehicle underneath, so you know what this is. So you know you're choosing the right vehicle when you need it. The Su-85s. These are anti-tank weapons, self-propelled anti-tank. And then, of course, a lot of people consider the best tank in the war, the T-34. And maybe debatable, but these were excellent ground weapons. The T-34 main battle tank for the Russians probably was the best battle tank made during World War II. Sloped armor, very hard, low profile, very hard to take out, very potent, very fast. These were fast vehicles, all right? They were very fast. And, of course, they could be mass-produced. The Russians knew what they were doing when they designed the T-34. All coming in trays. They can all be closed, placed in the core box. And then the 3 rule books. And they all fit nicely in it. That is your Company of Heroes core box, gentlemen. But we are not done. Yeah. the next thing to show you would be the other faction. As we were showing you factions, okay, here is the fifth faction, the Oberkommando West. This is the fifth faction, as you can see. But you can really tell this really was supposed to be the Waffen-SS, but decided to call it the OKW. This faction comes a larger tray, by the way, a larger tray, but it also comes with its own cards and commanders. Don't need to open those. Let's have a look at the sculpts, though. Oberkommando Vest. Nice infantry sculpt. Or I like to call them, as I said, an SS. But they are pretty much what they pretty much are that. They're their own anti-tank weapons. No artillery. There's no artillery in the game, by the way. Really is no artillery. In other words, no 105 millimeter howitzers or anything like that. Because it's not needed. Let's see. Stuka half tracks. Look at that. These are a little darker gray than the Wehrmacht. And if you play the OKW, you use these units, not the Wehrmacht. They are different. Stuka half tracks. Supply trucks. The supply trucks is the OKW is played a little differently than the other four factions. It's more of an advanced style. I'm not going to go into the rules of the game. I may do that for another time, but because I'm still learning them. Personally, this would be a kind of game you really just want to set up and just leave on the table as an art piece. Kettenkrads. Pretty much looks like a motorcycle with a track on it, see? Sturm Tigers. Again, very heavy. This is heavy. This thing weighs about 5 or 6 ounces. Almost feels like almost half a pound. Solid plastic. The Luke's tanks. Pretty much, these are more like light. They look like medium tanks. But I think they're more like light tanks. What they are. The Luke's was a light tank. Still potent. Yep. And yes, these do move. Little tight, but they do move. And in the OKW, in the Wehrmacht, you get the Tiger. In the OKW, you get the Panther. You get the Panther tanks. And the Panther tanks, again, very powerful tanks, very potent tanks, very potent, very powerful. But again, like the Tigers, prone to mechanical issues, but not as many as the Tiger did. The Panther was a better tank. The Panther was a better tank. Sloped armor on the front. In a way, if you like maybe the Russian version of the T-34 because of the forward sloped armor, but the OKW you get the Panther. And that is your Oberkommando vest. So those are the 5 factions you get in Company Heroes. But wait, There's more. A lot more. So let's go to another setup called Elite Commanders. Elite Commanders is an expansion, okay, which expands your commander levels. So here you get some more commander cards. So more ways to play. So more different commander cards for each faction in the game. For each faction in the game. For the US, the Russians, the Wehrmacht, the OKW, and the British. All 5 factions. You can tell by the border where they look, how they are. For elite commanders. And yes, more miniatures. More miniatures. Yes, more toys to play with. Or as I like to say every time ID Jester does an unboxing, every time I always go ahead into his chat and I say, oh, look what we got. More junk. We got more junk. You have for the elite commanders, you get the these are actually just for you get the 4 because the actual elite commanders were in the OKW, but this is for the main factions. So let's see what we get here. You get the Calliope for the United States. You get the Calliope tank. And with rocket launchers if you want to put on it. So see this Calliope tank? I can go ahead and put rocket launchers on it. How about that? And we get the M3 Stuart, the Forerunner before the Sherman, the Stuart tanks. I always felt the Stuart was a fine tank. A little bit underpowered, but I always felt the Stuart was a fine tank that the Americans had early in the war. And yep. And yes, you can turn the turrets. And you also get the Pershings. You get the Pershing tanks. Look at that beast. And let's see what we get for the Germans. Oh, the Germans got toys. They get the Jag Panthers. They get the Jag Panthers. Also, so these are also anti-tank, self-propelled anti-tank guns. Tank destroyers, if you want. The Jag Panthers. And they get this beast. Yes, you even get the King Tiger. That monster. The King Tiger, so much better than the regular Tiger. A much better tank, but came way too late for the Germans. Way too late. Much better tank. King Tiger. Much better tank. But a beast, but just came way too late. Let's see. Oh, about the British. Let's see what the British get. The British get the Firefly. Look at that weird looking thing. So many choices to play this game. And what is this? Only the 3rd box I've opened up? They get the Sextons, the British. Pretty much an anti-infantry, an anti-personnel platform, for lack of a better description. You get the Comet. Still very hard plastic. This is, as I said, it's a solid plastic. This isn't hollow. This is solid plastic. These are hard to destroy. And let's see. How long does a game take like this to play? I've had, depending on how long you want the game, you can have a short, a medium, and a long. If you know the rules pretty well, a game would take maybe an hour or two for a short game, for maybe a short to medium game. Also depends on the size of the map. If you have a huge map, it could take hours. But you can make the game as long or short as you want. It's customizable there, Ron. For the Russians, you get the KV-2. Weird-looking beast. But another tank destroyer, pretty much. And they got the IS-2. This is one of their later main battle tanks. You're interested. As I said, I'll show you, I'll send you to the website where you can. Right now, they're still trying to get everybody's order out. And they got a ways to go. The tariffs really slowed them down. I do not blame them at all. And for those people that went ahead and went through the air freight option like I did, they're playing these right now. People that did not go through the air freight option, they're still waiting. And they could still be waiting for a couple of months. I grabbed it at the first opportunity. I said, you know what? I'll go ahead and get it. Everything fits nicely in the board. Everything fits nicely. And that is Elite Commanders. Oh, there's more. Let's see. What else can I show you? How about the... Now I'm going to show you... Now, well, I'll get to that in a minute. Now, because the maps are customizable, it also came with a world builder game. This is an extra set of maps with extra tiles, acrylic tiles. It came with some extra maps so you can create your own maps. Summer maps, and of course on the other side will be winter maps. But these come with extra maps. These maps can be used with second edition as well. Okay, you can use these maps. All right, they are very much available to be used. You just have to go ahead. You just have to set them up for second edition, but you can set them up for second edition. But you have a summer 1 and a summer 2. And it comes with extra things to put on it. See how the, I don't need to open this up, but still you can see how it has extra hexes that all fit onto this. You can use this. So this is a world builder. So you can create your own maps. Completely create your own board, your own games. So that's your world builder. And let's see, what else can we show? How about, well, now we got some small packs to show from first edition. So let's show some of these small ones. These are also still from first edition, by the way. Everything I'm showing you is first edition. You have a couple of extras, couple of sets here that came with first edition. One of them is Eastern Reinforcements. This is an extra set of pack for the Russians. A couple of extra commander cards, some extra infantry, and of course, junk. And this you get the ISU 152s. Pretty much another tank. It's another tank destroyer is what it really is. You would think the rules of this game are actually pretty hard. After a few plays, they'll actually be very easy for I've watched. I have watched tutorials. There are tutorials on how to play the game out there. You need to watch them. Look at that. That's just awesome. I see Ron McGrath is definitely interested in what we got here. I'm also doing this video for ID Jester because ID Jester always does an unboxing video. So ID Jester, if you watch this video, it's more junk. And you get some extra infantry as well. In the box. And a couple of extra commanders as well for the Russians. Then then we get the Wehrmacht. The Wehrmacht has what's called the Stooge Assault Pack, which also includes elite infantry commanders. So you got this is for the Wehrmacht. And also includes other elite infantry commanders for the rest as well. For the Stooge, including more dice. And here you notice how you got the two, how they look the same, but they're actually different color. This is Wehrmacht, this is OKW. And here, these are Stooge or Stooge, or Stugs. Stooge, these are tank destroyers. The Stooges are actually built on a Panzer IV chassis. It's a Panzer IV, but with a tank destroyer cannon on it. Same one, just different color. The United States gets something too. It gets the Pathfinder. The United States gets the Pathfinder pack. The United States gets some extra infantry in here, but the Germans get this monster. Boy, this thing's heavy. You get this monster. Which was known as, this one they didn't put the name on, but this is the Elephant. This is the Elephant. And that is one biggie half-ass tank. But just look at the quality of the miniature. This is the Elephant. One of Germany's super tanks, super heavy tanks. Again, came way too late in the war to really make a difference. And Pathfinder companies, of course. In these small little boxes. Oh, wait, there's more. Let's see. What is not. Oh, I think we need to take a look at the buildings. So, everybody, of course, likes miniatures. So on the maps have, the maps go ahead and have, buildings on the maps and all that stuff. They have, pictures of the houses and whatever. You don't have to do it that way. With Terrain Pack 1, you get all of this stuff. You get barbed wire. You get sandbags. You get tank traps. You get flags. You don't have to use those cardboard flag markers. You get your own flags. And of course, you get something to hang the flags on. These are control markers where you put the flags on. And of course, you get houses. There are 9 of them in here, which is pretty much more than enough. Most maps only have about 5 or 6. You have not. If you want to get more, you can. Each house, okay, has a die marker on it. So a place to put a die marker for if it's destroyed or not. Also, if you want to play a fog of war, you can hide infantry inside. Look at the textures on the homes. These would be wonderful to paint, and I have seen some people paint these really, really nicely. And you get 9 of these things, which, as I said, pretty much more than enough. And 9 houses. They all look the same, but still. You get 9 houses. And what you do is if there's an infantry inside a house, you go ahead and you put it on top of here. That states the infantry is inside the house. Or building, I should say. It's really not a house, but a building. But you get 9 of these. And you get your tank traps, your sandbags. Barbed wire. And you get red and blue flags. So what do you think about that there, Ron McGrath? What do you think about playing with with very nice buildings on there, huh? What do you think about that? Oh, that's Terrain Pack 1. There's more. There is Terrain Pack 2. This is also from First. Terrain Pack 2. You get some extra units here. And you also have destroyed buildings. So I'll give you an example. So if a building is destroyed, you remove the building that's on there and you use this instead. So you have destroyed buildings on the map as well. Very strong plastic. And of course, you can paint this. You have destroyed buildings. So if the building is destroyed, you replace that with one of these. You get quite a bit of them. You get quite a bit of these things. And you get a bunker. You also get a bunker. This is a bunker that can be placed on the map. Oh, and you get 2 of these. This thing weighs a pound. I'm going to tell you, this thing weighs almost a full pound. This thing is heavy plastic. Just look at that. Look how thick that is. Look at how thick that is. It's so tough, I can't even squeeze it. That is very heavy plastic. This is a bunker. And you get 2 of these for the maps that have a bunker on it. But the piece de resistance in this game is the cathedral. There are maps where they actually have 2 cathedrals. I only got 1. I don't think I need 1. I really don't think I need to play on the maps. I don't have a table large enough for 2 of them anyway. But you got the cathedral. Look at this. This is the big thing right here is the cathedral. The cathedral has 2 different types of towers. Oh, by the way, you also add this to it. So the cathedral has a destroyed unit. So really the cathedral looks like this total combined with a destroyed roof. And the cathedral also comes with a tower. It comes with a destroyed tower or the tower that's fixed, and it would go on top, and this goes on top of that. The only thing that can be destroyed on the cathedral is the tower. The cathedral is indestructible, pretty much. But it's still a beautiful piece on the board. And also here, even though it doesn't state on the box, these are the emplacements for the British. These are actually emplacements. These are emplacements. These are what go on there for the British units because they usually use the emplacements. This actually came in the box. It doesn't even say it's supposed to get it, but you do get that. As funny as that is. Now, of course, getting it back in the box is going to be impossible. Pretty much everything does fit in here. Probably if I remove the cardboard, it'll probably be okay. And trust me, this stuff's pretty much unbreakable. I don't know how I ever could, especially these friggin' bunkers. I don't know how anything can break these. Getting it back in the box though could be problematic. And that's Terrain Pack 2. But there's more! Now, in order for me to go into more, though, I actually have to go into second edition. So now I'm going to show you the last thing that the first edition goes. Now, for those of you that don't know, that can't find anybody to play, there's your co-op, there's your solo and co-op expansion. This, however, is completely redundant, and I'll tell you why. I'm going to show you this anyway. For those of you that couldn't find an opponent, they did create a game with an AI. It was put originally with the co-op expansion. So if you want to learn how to play the game by itself, you can. There is a solo rulebook that comes with AI units, AI commanders, how you can play the game following certain rules, what the AI will do. The original solo set came with some strong commanders, how to set the maps up, and it came with action decks and such. So what you do is if you play the AI, you're going to use these decks, and it will show you what the AI is doing by following these symbols. It may look a little daunting, but it's not. The AI actually is pretty simple to use. I have seen it in action, and depending on what commander you're using, you're not going to have an easy time with it. So these will go to the instruction cards. And the instruction cards, here you have your commanders, easy commanders, hard ones, and you follow these. And pretty much, these were tokens. If you notice, I didn't open them. These are tokens that you put on the board, and you move these tokens on the board, and these are the enemy. Pretty much, it was really just the Germans. I really didn't open this. Why not? Screw it. Let's open it. But this is totally redundant, though. This is no longer used at any way. Well, you can use it, but why would you want to? And I'll show you why. Do the second edition. So these are the units you play for AI if you want to play the game solo, if you don't have an opponent. It had different units to utilize: blue, yellow, red, event tokens, that kind of stuff. But you can see, as you can see here, it utilized most of the Germans. So if you wanted to, so the only way you could play solo was with the United States or a non-German faction, and you would use these. You would put these on the board, and you would move these around, and these would be your, and this is who you would be fighting, would be your AI. If you you could actually, if you wanted to, you could have, when you revealed one of these, you could take off these things and put a miniature on it in its place. That's fine. You could do that. But this was how the original was to be played if you wanted to play it solo. But this, however, is totally redundant, because if there is, including the rules. So if you wanted to play solo, you would not be using this at all, because this has been totally, irrelevant. This is the one box, that you have in the first edition that, I mean, you can if you want to, but you really don't want to, because the second edition solo is 100 times better. When you get to that, you'll see. But this is the co-op, so it was possible to play this game solo. We're still not done. Time out for a minute while I go get a drink, because then we're going into second edition. Now, first edition, if you have first edition for those of you who do have this game in first edition, don't fret, because if you have first edition, you need to get that. Welcome the second edition update kit. And pretty much it's just as big. It's just as big as the main core box. What do you get in this? As soon as the first edition of Company Heroes was done, Chris Gabrielson really didn't, for some reason, just didn't like it. He started saying, you know what, this is good. This will whet the appetites, but we need to update this game to what I really, really wanted to play. Incoming second edition. This is how you play the game. This is the way it was meant to be. First of all, let's have a look at it. First of all, you have the second edition rules. Laid out pretty much the same way, but no basic or advanced. Everything is already inside. Everything is already in it. Everything is already in it. But the rule book is a lot better. The rule book is a lot better to read. It is a lot better. All right. The second edition is a lot better. All the rules are where they're supposed to be. Very easy to get to. Lots of examples. The rule book is a lot better. Second edition is the way to play it. If you want to play the game if you want to play a basic version of the game, you're not going to use these gray rules. If it's in gray, you don't play it. Okay. If you want to play the main game, you play with all the rules in the book. In the back, same thing. Now, the second book you got. Now, remember how it showed the FAQ? In the second edition, they give you a faction guide. Here is a complete guide of how to play all 5 factions: U.S., Wehrmacht, Soviet, British, OKW. Strengths and weaknesses of everything, including all the commander cards. How they work, how they operate, how to use them. This is the faction guide. This is probably the second thing you read after you read the rule book. You'll read the faction guide. And I'll show you how everything goes. Then you have an updated mission booklet. This is the same thing which has the maps, but it will tell you how to utilize maps from the first edition as well into second edition. So here you'll say where it says map setup, legacy map pack, world builder pack. This will allow you to set up the maps from the older setup. The maps are a little different in second edition. They're a little different. Okay, they're actually the paving was done better. They were made a little smaller in terms of the maps, not the map size, but a little smaller in play area. And it is a lot easier to play, believe it or not. Second edition. The creator of the game, Chris Gabrielson, passed away before the second edition could be finished out. That's why he died. So he died before this was actually released, only about a year or so ago. One other reason why this was the creation of the second edition game was put off. Again, another caring for your new miniatures painting guide. There was a little bit of errata in the second edition, but it was very, very marginal. It came with a sticker sheet to place in the rule book, and I'll give you an example here. This is actually a sticker that I had to put inside the rule book, as you can actually see another thing above it because it was a slight graphical error. I didn't mind that at all, but that's all the errata that I found at the moment. So what do you get in the second edition? Well, the second edition, you get these. But notice these are different. Notice these are different. You get the same boards, but they are different. Same quality, same acrylic. But notice now on these boards, they go up to 5. These go up to 10, and now you put the commander card here, and now you have them down here. So these were updated. So now you would put the commander here, and you would put a marker what you're working on. And I'll show you an example of that. You also get some more. You get some new tiles. And remember how I showed you the other ones were cardboard? These are acrylic. These are different control unit areas, but these are acrylic. That's not plastic in there. That's acrylic. And they even give you more decals. Trust me, plenty of decals. And what else do you get? Well, you get more junk. In this faction here, They've updated everything. You even get a couple of extras here as well. More dice, more pip dice. Now everything is marked. Instead of using cubes to go ahead and mark damage, now you use dice for damage. You now have flags for every faction: German, United States, Britain, and Russia. They're in here someplace. In there somewhere. Okay. But you have different flags for each. More control cubes. And of course, more dice. And every single commander card was updated. Every single one from every first edition pack. These have, and you notice now on the other ones that have commander cards, now you can actually say Soviet, all this. But these are very slippery. Look at this. Very slippery. If you ever get these are very slippery. This is even a different type of texture. Look at the texture on the cards. Very slippery. Very top card quality. Very slippery cards. And the commander card would go in here. And you can now mark with a cube which one of these you're using or which one of these you're up to. Very slippery. Very top quality. These replace every single commander card from first edition. These replace every one of these boards from first edition. And you get another Sexton tank. And yep, you get another elephant. This one has the name on it. You get the 88, you get the M4 78s to go on the Sherman tanks. Another Stewart. And some more T-34-85 weapons. And you get all the dice. And of course, you get updated maps. These maps are updated. Specifically designed, okay, to be updated. Better rendition of showing where cover is, light cover, heavy cover. Very pretty maps. You get the two, you get Moro River and you get Stalin and Ardennes Forest in these maps. This is the second edition kit. If you have a first edition, you must get this. And if you don't, I don't understand why you would not want to. You want to get these cards. You want to get this. And of course, you have the updated ones here. And it comes with an operations deck as well. This was something new. Now you don't know how many turns a round's going to last. And even these are very slippery as well. And this is very heavy. See how that moves like that? That's heavy. So you get everything in here in the second edition. Everything is well packaged, by the way. So you're definitely going to want to get an update kit. You're definitely going to want to get the second edition update kit. So what also is updated in second edition? I'm glad you asked. Well, for those of you that wondered, well, if we have second edition, you know, what about those maps? Those first edition first edition maps aren't going to work with second edition maps. You're right. Kaboom! Legacy map pack. Here, all the maps from the first edition are updated. So the first edition had maps like Trois Points and Monastery, and on the other side were some other maps as well. So these maps are updated. So all the first edition maps, except for the World Builder maps, were updated. They didn't update those, but I don't think they were necessary. So you get updated maps for the second edition in the Legacy map pack. So all the maps that you have in first edition are updated to second edition. And of course, getting tiles. So you have the Legacy map pack. So for those of you wondering, well, I'm only going to have 2 maps. No, you're going to have a total of 6 maps. But even though 6 may not sound like a lot, but with all the interchanging you can do with the maps, trust me, you're going to have quite a bit of maps to work with. You will not be bored. So let's see what else we have. How about, let's see what more we got. Well, how about more terrain? How about Terrain Pack 3? Second edition. In Terrain Pack 3, you'll get rocks. You'll get walls. This is designed for cover. So if you want to use these for cover on the map, you can put these on there for cover. Fuel tanks. Pine trees for heavy cover. Or this out. Forest trees for light cover. Footbridges as well. Oh, and more buildings. This is actually a factory. And flags. This is actually a factory. These go on top of each other. So if you can have a factory like this or destroyed, and it fits right in there. This is a factory building. Get some more flags here too. Everything fits nice and neat, pretty much. And you get terrain, so you have more terrain to put on there, Ron. But wait, there's more. Terrain Pack 4. What do we get in this? One very big bunker. It's a modular bunker, so you can go ahead and utilize this as a 2-piece bunker. Comes apart, so you can put people in there. Or if you want, you can use this like a big command center. And it's modular. It fits as one big bunker. This is what they call a mega bunker. Very hard to crack. So you have a mega bunker for Terrain Pack 4. Let's see. Do we have more? Yes, we do. Got a lot. Got still a little bit more to go with here. So let's see. Two-hour unboxing. Wow. Okay. To continue going with second edition, they created a box of captured Panthers. So if you want to go ahead and you want to play with, if you want to play with Panthers that are captured by maybe like the United States or Britain or Russia, they gave you extra Panthers, but these are captured Panthers. So you can use these for Russia or you can use these for the United States. Comes with flags for you to put on, you know, what you want to put there. And it comes also with their own commander cards, specifically designed to be used with captured Panthers. More junk. An emplacement pack, too, for the British. The British utilize emplacements. Remember I showed you those in the terrain pack, too? So here you have some more emplacements. Some extra emplacements if you want to use them. And these these guns supposed to go in there. Oh my God, I don't have enough dice. Problem solved. You want more dice? You get more dice, including more vehicle trays, a dice bag, extra dice. Trust me, enough more than enough. Should never run out of dice. Although some people say I should have maybe gotten 2 of these, I said, nah, I don't think so. You get a dice pack with the vehicle trays as well. So don't have to worry about dice. You got plenty of that. Plenty of dice. We don't have enough flags. We need more control flags. I submit there's no cause for worry. More flags, more control points for the larger games, including a light blue color, which I kind of like. Now, the OKW, all right, was a faction that they had to up, since the OKW didn't come with the original four core set. They had to create their own upgrade kit for the OKW because they actually changed its rules a bit. Hence the OKW upgrade kit. What this has is a different way of really how to play the OKW. Comes another board, OKW commander cards, captains, even more dice, but it also comes with these. These are like supply bases. These are supply bases. This is how you play the OKW faction. They've changed the rules a little bit to make it a little bit different. So you now play the OKW with this, and yes, you got more dice. Its own set of commander cards and another board. They did not have a problem with the OKW. Then they decided to say, you know what? We need more junk. Enter Lost Brigades. This Lost Brigades is a way to play the game in a quick fashion, bringing in units, bringing in high tier units in a little faster. And you got commander cards for them, of course, and more junk. Look at that. Even more cards. Let's see what we get here. We get we get the Flampanzer, flamethrower panzer. Got some more little machine guns. Let's see. For the Germans, we get the SDKFZ 251s. But these are special because you can actually take these out and put these in. So you can actually take these out of here and put different units and put these into here. So this can come out and these can go in. The British Valentine 11s. Valentine 11s. The game that keeps on giving. Yep. The Russians will give you the KV-8s. And the United States give you the M4A1 105 Dozier. That's a nasty looking weapon, actually. That's a nasty looking tank. The M4A1 105 Dozier. Get that on the board someplace. And also comes with extra turrets as well for the 105 Shermans. This is another way, building board, another way to play the game with Lost Brigades. Do I have anything else? One more thing. We are finally coming around the bend. Now, remember I told you that the solo expansion, the solo and co-op expansion, okay, the solo and co-op expansion was completely redundant, and it is. It's not designed for second edition at all, but that is the second edition solo expansion. Much, much better. Much, much easier and tougher. The solo expansion comes with a second edition rule book. Very detailed on how to play against the solo opponent, the AI. If you notice, the other one, okay, had only one set of tokens. But here, you can play against anybody. They get their own dice. They get a brand new set of commander cards. If you notice, the AI cards had 3 of them on each one. These have 4. So these definitely take over. And as I said, very slippery. Just look at that. Very slippery. They'll fall out of my hands if I don't hold on to them. And if I hold on to them, they'll probably still fall out of my hands. You also have a Fog of War commander, which actually you can play against a person. And of course, you have your commanders as well. Even more commanders than the first one had. And the instruction cards. How to play it solo. You also get spawn tokens on the maps. And different color cubes. But in this case, remember the other one I showed you that you had only one token, tokens of just 1 units and all that stuff? Here, you get tokens for each faction you want to play against. So if you're the United States, if you're the Germans, you want to play against the United States, you open the box. And no, these are not plastic. These are acrylic. These are acrylic. These are not plastic. And here, you can play against any faction you want. So you're not stuck with one faction. And trust me, plenty of enemies to choose from, including Lost Commander units. Including units from the expansions. This is like the United States. So you have these on the board. So what you do is you would put these face down, and as this moves on the board, when you go ahead and get to it a reveal, you would flip the unit, and that's what you're facing. And if you want, you can still grab you don't have to use this. It's just going to go ahead and tell you what unit you're playing against. If you want, you can go ahead and as soon as this unit comes up, you can take the miniatures if you want and put it on top of it and use that. And so you have the miniatures there as well. And you can have that underneath it, or take the card off completely and just use the miniatures, and you already know what you're facing. And you have for all the factions, unlike the other one where you only had one set of tokens to play solo, you can play against any faction you want. USA, Wehrmacht, British, Soviet, OKW. You can also team up. So if you want two people against one AI, you can do it. If you want one person and one AI versus one person, another AI, you can do it. All right. This is the ultimate way to play the game solo. This is how you play the game solo. You may think it's daunting. It is not as daunting as you think it is. It is very simple. It is very simple. And yes, sometimes you may have to make a decision for the AI at the AI set that may not make any sense. Go right ahead. Do it. Make it as tough as you want against it. There's very ways to make it as easy or as hard as you want, and it has a map for pretty much everything. The solo rule, including for big ones. This was one of the main reasons, believe it or not, one of the main reasons I got this game was because of the solo format. I wasn't too happy with the first solo format for Company of Heroes. But when they went second edition and I saw this, I said, oh yeah, no doubt, I have to get it. This is how you play it solo and co-op. There's ways to play it co-op as well. 2 players against 1 AI. There are commanders for co-op. You will not be bored. And that is it. That is it. That is the Company of Heroes board game unboxing. It took me 2 hours to do this. I think, Ron, you're the only one that stayed with me through the whole thing. I'm glad you did. Now, other people may want to look at this and see what they want to give it a shot. I'll go ahead and I'll put the website for Bad Crow Games and the Facebook group for this as well. The pledging and Kickstartering is already out. The pledging and Kickstarter is done. Okay. The pledging and Kickstarting is they're still right now is over. Right now they're trying to get the people that back this all their games. They may go into the retail market. They may show up in some retail stores, but not everything. If I was a retail store, the only thing I'd probably put out there would be the 2-player core set for now. And maybe the other expansions for the other factions. That's probably about it. I don't think I put everything out there. I don't think I'd do that if I was a retail store. Unless people bought it, then I would go ahead and maybe get the rest of the stuff and sell it at retail price. Total price of this, I'll tell you right now, I'll tell you how much this cost me. When I bought the first edition from a guy here in Boca, it cost me $500. The second edition backer kit cost me $200, $300 when I had an extra $100 when I had to pay for the air freight to get it. But that was marginable, and I was waiting 2 years to get second edition. I pledged for this on May 2023. I got it 2 years later, May 2025, just before my birthday. So that is what this is. I've been wanting to do an unboxing of this for so long. Now I can go ahead and maybe study some more of the rules, and I'll try to get some version of this game on the table. A very small sample of it. I might be able to do something with it, with the rules as they are, and I'll see what happens. Maybe I'll do a demo of it if possible. Okay. But that is Company of Heroes board game. Yeah, you got more than your money's worth, absolutely, with those miniatures and everything. All the quality is top notch. This game weighs almost about, if you get everything, with the crate, the total weight of this game was almost 50 pounds. Very heavy game. And some people are still waiting for it. So hopefully some people will look into this. Some people will go ahead and look into this unboxing, see if they like it, and maybe get in touch with the people that make it, Bad Crow Games, and maybe to see if they can get a copy. If you're wondering if there's going to be any more of this game, yes. There is a Dutch Africa core in the pipeline. There actually is a kind of like a teaser commander, Panzer Army Africa. So they're actually going to be working, I think, on a Dutch Africa Corps faction. So the Germans will have 3 factions: the OKW, the Wehrmacht, and now the Africa Corps. And if they do that, that'll be awesome, because that means desert maps. So, you know, and who knows what may happen. I don't think we're going to see anything in the Pacific, which is kind of sad. I would love to see a Japan and a U.S. Marines expansion. But because Company Heroes did not officially go into the Pacific, even though there are Pacific mods out for that, I don't think Bad Crow Games is going to go into the Pacific unless Sega gives them permission to do so. Sega still owns rights to Company Heroes. So if they go ahead and do a Pacific theater, which would probably include Japan, U.S. Marines, maybe China, and possibly jungle maps. Okay, that could be something in the future. But right now, I'm not worried about that. Should you get both editions? You can't get both editions. Second edition right now is the only way you will get it. So I'll give you an example. What I showed you is first edition with second edition stuff. Anything you order from them will be second edition. Anything you order from them will be second edition. There is no more first edition. I had to show you first edition first to show you the main game before I went into second edition to show you what it is now. Okay, so if you want to get anything you buy from Company Heroes will automatically be second edition, and you wouldn't want first edition anyway, because first edition has been completely irrelevant. And the second edition, the second edition core set is only a 2-player core set. The one I showed you was a 4. They actually offered a 4-player core set for first edition. They don't offer that for second. So if you want to play all the factions, you would have to get a second edition core set, which is US and Wehrmacht, and then you'd have to buy British, Soviet, and the OKW faction expansions. You won't need the update kit because the update kit is designed for people that have first edition. If you're buying second edition, you won't need that. Everything will already have second edition in there. You'll probably be buying, pretty much if you go to the website, it'll show you exactly what you want to get if you want to go all in. Ron, if you go to the website for Bad Crow Games, which, as I said, I'll go ahead and I'll put it in the comments. All right, in the comments. All right, you'll see what you can get from this. All right. I don't know what the price is going to be for retail, and I know they're not available yet for retail because they're still trying to get this game over here from China. The tariffs are still having a problem with that. So I hope maybe you can always ask. You know, when I'll give you the Facebook group that they're on as well, and you can ask how I can get this set. All right, how can I get everything? I'm very interested. I just watched an unboxing from this guy. I really want to get this. How do I get it? What do I have to do? Is it available? And they'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Rudy Visser runs the website. The Facebook web group, and he is excellent. So he will go ahead and tell you everything you need. So for those of you that were interested in this, but really didn't want to know about pulling the trigger, I just wanted to tell you guys, it really is worth it. And even if you don't play it, it makes a great conversation piece. With all the details and the miniatures, you could paint your miniatures and just put it on a table and just make it look like a great battle being taken place in Western Europe or Eastern Europe, or or at Stalingrad or the lakes of the Ardennes, anything like that. Okay, and hopefully we'll see a desert expansion, and I would love to see a Pacific, but I don't know if we'll see that for any time soon. But right now, everything I've showed you is what this game has. I've been wanting to do an unboxing this for a long time. Now that I have, now I can study the rules, and maybe I can do some sort of a demo of how to play this once I learn it that well. 2-hour unboxing. I think that's good enough. Thank you for everyone that decided to join me today. I know this is not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm glad people did join me tonight. So please leave a like on your way out through the barbed wire. Subscribe if you're not done so, and make sure you hit the bell. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart, stay strong, and I'll see you guys next time. This was the Company of Heroes 1st and 2nd edition unboxing. Take care, guys. Have a good one.